Is there a significant handling difference between the 2 and the 4-door?
So they will handle differently. A 2-door vehicle is going to be more agile than a 4-door. Because there's less body mass, it's probably going to feel like a rowdier ride. It will be a little bumpier. Everything else being equal, a 2-door is going to be a little bumpier than a 4-door because there's simply less body mass to absorb some of the energy. There's also, they will have a higher breakover angle in the center. Remember, that's that angle that's kind of right there at that B pillar. It's the center of the vehicle. It'll be higher because the axles are closer together. Because the axles of the vehicle are closer together, that breakover angle is a little higher. Now, on the flip side, the 4-door Bronco will generally climb hills. It's thought that, generally speaking, all other factors being equal, a 4-door will climb a hill better than a 2-door. So, I mean, beyond that, it's obviously things like cargo space, but in terms of just the handling, the 2-door is definitely more agile. It's going to feel kind of sportier, if you will, but it's also going to ride a little rougher, given the lack of mass.
Up on the rock.
25 miles an hour, keep it safe, keep it sane.
We're doing sand mode on the goat mode. On the goat modes, we're doing sand. Alright.
80% of the braking power on the driver's side and 20% of the braking power on the passenger side, slowing the vehicle down relative to what the terrain is. Or if this hill is really nasty, muddy, a big snowy hill, and we're afraid we might lock up the brakes. Trail control can sense that, can sense when too much brake pressure is going to lock up the brakes relative to the terrain, and it can vary accordingly. Just continue to just steer that vehicle and trust the Bronco. It will stop itself, slow itself down as needed, and keep the vehicle moving forward. And then we will also go up and out of this wash using the trail control. Now, once we get down to the bottom of the wash, let's say that we feel like, okay, 1 mile an hour was too slow, and we start coming up the other side, hit that set plus button to go to 2 miles an hour. So team, while we're kind of in a wash and thinking about water, you know, when you're out off-road, you can drive through water when you're off-road, but you got to be very careful about it. If you're going to drive down into a wash like this, you obviously want to think about what's the flow rate. I mean, is the water stagnant or is it flowing? And if it's flowing, you got to be very cautious about that flow rate of the water. How fast is it flowing? It does not take a lot of water to push a vehicle. We don't want to splash a lot of water up onto the engine and have it intake into the motor itself. That's the way you can damage your engine. And finally, what's on the bottom? Is it mud? Is it stone? What is the bottom of that wash like? And that'll tell you, you know, all those things. And of course, at the end of the day, the best way to learn all of that is for simply to sort of take one for the team and roll up their pants, right, and walk out into the water to get that sense of how fast is it flowing, what's the depth, and what's the bottom light.
I like that mode. It kind of saves your brake, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, and it can, like I said, brake individual size. It can brake front to back. It can brake only one tire. It can brake all 4 tires, but at different percentages, different levels of force, depending on what the terrain sensors are reading about the ground. Now, once we get up out of this wash, y'all, you can stay in trail control the whole rest of the day if you wanted to. I mean, it's just a software program. It's using the same brakes and the same acceleration. It's using the same processes. It's just a computer controlling it, or at least it's a computer bringing it about, whereas you're just kind of inputting the speed. Now, once you get up here where Bronco 1 is, up on top of this kind of plateau, as you come out of the wash, you're going to have a side slope, kind of sandy hill. So we're going to cheat just a little bit to the passenger side. Again, just a few inches. We don't need to be in the grass or anything like that, but we will cheat a little bit to the passenger side. Because as we go down, this soft sand will sort of make our vehicle slide to that driver's side. So when it does that, we don't want to be in the middle of the trail and then slide off the trail. You want to be kind of cheating to the uphill side and slide to the middle of the trail. Say again?
What is this mode called?
It is called trail control.
Is there trail control on the standard or the manual?
No.
There is not.
But you have crawl mode though.
To bring about the exact same effect, you put it in the crawler gear, let out on the clutch, and just let it go. You would have the same benefit in terms of slowing the vehicle down. All right, team, what do we think about that trail control?
That's awesome. We love it.
Resistance is futile. Right? It does feel a little, I mean, it's definitely the machine, right, kind of taking over. We're still doing the steering input, but pretty cool little feature. Again, I think where I would use it, the use case for me is, coming down really nasty hills where I'm afraid, trying to modulate the brake, I may accidentally, lock it up by giving it too much brake, the hill's just too slick. I think that'd be the best use case for it, personally, for me. Left at the intersection. Another one of those areas, y'all, up to 25. Now, up to 25 does not mean non-stop 25. We only do 25 when it's nice and flat. As you make turns and there's bumps, you bring that speed down. But through this section, drive within your level of comfort up to 25 miles an hour, and kind of enjoy the fantastic effects of the built-in shock dampeners.
Can you use the turn assist with trail control?
Yes. focus, see where your Bronco. Make sure that Bronco behind you sees the turn you made. We are going to pull in here and get stopped. We're going to just kind of explore this cave and the next one over, and then we're going to come back and have a little recovery conversation.
So what do you think so far of the Bronco Off-Roadeo experience?
It's awesome.
Are you no longer a pussy?
You can comment.
It's weird.
Yeah. Oh, dang. Come down here, hit the dude. Come down here, hit the dude. What are those things?
Horse shit, looks like.
The bomb shuts up.
Yeah, this is pretty hideous.
Yeah, you weren't the
People are
kid.
disgusting.
You just barely touched
Yeah.
Yeah, all this is crap.
Yeah. It's all
I-
dumbass kids doing this
No,
stuff.
some of them are dumbass
some adults are dumb too.
Yeah.
You think? Yeah, well.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you barely touch it and it comes off. Like, you're just rubbing it with your fingers.
yeah, it's beach sand. Yeah, the carvings are just, I mean, it's jerks. without a doubt.
I know.
Getting emotional about it, I get it, your $60,000 baby, right, is sinking in the mud or the sand. I get it.
60.
Like, who did you buy from? Your expensive, vehicle is struggling, right? So I get all that, makes total sense. But the key thing is to have that good mindset. It's all part of that adventure. Let's understand, first off, why are we stuck? Why are we stuck? So you may not, back this morning when we first hit all those rocks, those ledges, we talked about two primary issues: ground clearance and traction. Ground clearance and traction. Well, those are the two types of stucks that we're going to have. Either we're going to get hung up on something from a ground clearance standpoint, or we just don't have traction, like in this nice soft sand. So easy enough to determine, right? Let's look under that vehicle and let's understand, can I see daylight all the way through there, right? So am I hung up on something? Is there a big rock sitting on the drive shaft? So many people will get out, all right, I know what to do, let's hook up this tree, we're going to get it going here. Take a minute. The Zen, do we even know why we're stuck? Because if we get busy pulling on this thing and we don't notice that there's a rock on the drive shaft or a big log under the axle that we're hung up on, we yank on this, we could maybe immobilize the vehicle, and now we've really got a problem, right? It takes something that could have taken 30 minutes and turned it into an 8-hour ordeal because we just didn't stop and see what's happening. So that's mindset. Get the emotions out of it. So let's go to what do we actually do? Well, there's two types of recoveries. There's self-recovery and there's assisted recovery. Self-recovery. The most basic form of self-recovery, the humble, modest shovel, right? Just a shovel. I want to highly recommend you carry a shovel in your vehicle. Now, this is a medium-sized shovel. I actually like a shorter handled shovel than this. Definitely the D handle. Depending on where you are, this blade is made more for scooping, right? The sand. And the angled blades are designed more for penetration, right? So if you've got nice soft sand or snow and you're scooping a lot, you get a flat blade. If you really got hard ground, you want a shovel that can penetrate. Why you want something that's short is because oftentimes you're under the vehicle like this. You're digging out from underneath the vehicle. We don't want to just come right up and immediately start pulling on the vehicle. Oftentimes when you get stuck, you end up with these little sand piles, right, in front of the tires. The tires dug up like that with these sand piles. We need to get in there and gently kind of move those out of the way so that we're not trying to overcome all of that resistance from that dirt and those sand piles, that mud, that snow. That's weight. It can be hundreds of pounds, maybe even more. If it's completely under the vehicle, if the vehicle's sitting on the snow, you're talking thousands of pounds worth of water weight that you're trying to not only pull 5,500 pounds potentially, but also all of that weight underneath the snow that it's sitting on, getting it to overcome that. That is very hard on your equipment. It stretches it to the max and something might break, right? So let's get that stuff out of the way. Do your shovel work. I know it's not sexy and cool, but do your shovel work. It is work, but do that. Get it out of the way. Make it easier on the recovery equipment so we're not breaking anything. Make sense? Okay. You can do a lot with the humble shovel. What I personally carry is the old Army entrenching tool. You know, yay big, foldable, down. Fantastic. Overlands, the idea of overlanding has become kind of this big, cool concept these days. You don't have to get the Gucciest shovel in the catalog, right? I mean, they've got $500 shovels, right? You don't need that. I've had an Army entrenching tool that I got from my days in the service. You can find them in surplus stores. You can find them online. Pretty inexpensive, and they are fantastic for doing the kind of stuff we're talking about doing. And they fold up and don't take up much space, right in the back of your vehicle. So a shovel, highly recommend using a shovel. Now, next level up on that, kind of going next level up, is this right here. Who can tell me what this is?
Traction board.
It's a traction board. Yeah, you can use it to bridge. You can use it as a ramp. There's a lot of ways to use this. This is a traction board. Traction board. First came about in World War II. They were actually looking to build runways. The British were looking to build runways, and they took all these pieces of metal, set them down, and they noticed that they built a runway, and planes would come in, and they'd want to pick the runway back up and drive off with it. So they just used these little pieces. And what they noticed is it helped them get unstuck a lot of times. Fast forward to today, you have, of course, this very sophisticated nylon, resin, glass impregnated material. The brake strength on this, 11,000 pounds.
Oh, wow. Man.
Before this will break. Very, very durable. Very durable. I've only ever broken one of these. I've used them for years. I've used them hard. I have broken one board one time. It was up on that LaSalle mountain, that big mountain we've been seeing all day.
Yeah.
It's up there. The piece of it is still sitting up there. I've got to get up there this summer and go get it. Right? It's up there from last winter. 0 degree kind of temperatures, thousands of feet in the air. It was a pretty big ordeal. It took about 6 hours to get these vehicles unstuck. We were working the equipment very hard. It was getting dark. It was time to go. So we really pushed the boundaries of it and broke a piece. But the good news is that it's got a lifetime warranty. I'm a big fan of buy once, cry once. You can buy cheap versions of this stuff, right? And you're going to cry when it breaks in the field and it doesn't work. And you're going to cry when you got to go finally buy something that's worthwhile. Get something that's good. I'm not here to try to sell you these boards. I want to sell you on buying quality stuff, though, and being prepared. These boards in particular are called ARB. Anthony Ronald Brown, fantastic company out of Australia. Big fan of their stuff. It's what's on my vehicle as I carry these. They're absolutely fantastic. Some other good brands, again, so you don't think I'm just trying to pitch you ARB or something. Max Trax is their competitor. Cannot go wrong with Max Trax. They're absolutely fantastic too. I also own a set of those. All right, so because I told you I nerd out on this stuff. So very, very good stuff is something like this. So how do I go about using it? So assuming I've done all my shovel work and we figure out the direction of travel we want to go. I want to go straight. Okay, great. I'm going to take this board. You notice there's a higher concentration of teeth on this side than there is on this side. So here's my tire side. I'm going to take this board, stick it right underneath my tire like so. Now, I'm sitting on a rock. Normally there'd be a hole there, right, that we're stuck in. So it would go down into the ground. Because it's a hole, it's probably sticking up a little bit like this. Get in the vehicle, put it in drive, 4 low, and let's start to gently accelerate forward. This is a 2-3 mile an hour kind of thing. Because what's designed to happen is these cleats are designed to fit between the lugs on this tire. The lugs will start grabbing these, pulling this board in, and now we're sitting on traction. If we're only lightly stuck, this may be all we need. As we drive forward, maybe we can continue to keep going without any issue. If this is the first, 10 of 1,000 yards of nasty gumbo mud, we may be here for a minute. You know, we're gonna drive a little ways, get stuck, and get another shot at excellence, get to do it again, right? But this right here is the most basic way. Now they come in sets of 2. I like personally having, you got 4 tires. I like having 4 to be able to carry with the vehicle just to make sure we're good. Again, set of 2 though is enough for most situations. All that makes sense. Okay, that's kind of that's a reactive way of using these. I got stuck and now I need help. I got to get out. Proactively, let's get in front of it. I could take these boards and I could look out and I go, you know, I can see right here that it's really nasty, all this mud that's coming up in front of the vehicle. I'm going to take these boards and I'm going to just give myself something to aim for right here. Right, I'm going to put one right there, and I'm going to come and put one right here, and give myself something to aim for. Lay them down proactively. You don't have to wait till you're stuck. If you've got a ramp, if I was one time at an area called Flatiron Mesa, south of town, I didn't have quite the approach angle I needed to get over a certain area. So I basically just stacked a couple of these and built myself a ramp. Like so, right? Laying that up against the rock, and now I've got a ramp.
They held it all the way up.
Oh, totally, yeah. Again, 11,000 pounds. 11,000 pounds. I mean, this is very strong, very durable. Side tilt. Remember that side tilt this morning? 23, 24 degrees? Imagine that side tilt. Let's see, that was a lot of sand or snow or mud. Let's take these boards and let's lay them along the top of the side tilt. Let's just say this is the top of the side tilt up here. I could lay these boards like so on the top of the side tilt and aim for them. As I drive my Bronco up through here, I'm going to aim for that passenger side tire to end up on these boards to kind of hold the vehicle up at the top of the side tilt so it doesn't slide down.